record. Start over again. Okay, this is the plane.
This is the F-86.
Okay.
And this is the F-86D Dog, and this is the T-33 trainer. Here's the F-102 Delta Wing, and the one that crashed on the runway. This guy was Ralph Eakins was ahead of me, one flight ahead of me in Sherman, Texas, in training, and when he took off, the tower called him and said, "Red One, your plane is on fire." So they said, "Pull up to 500 feet and jump out." But he stayed in the plane, and when he got to low key up here, his engine exploded and destroyed his hydraulic system, so his gear didn't come down and his lights wouldn't come on, so he didn't have any lights. But he went ahead and landed, came down and landed in front, about 50 feet in front of me, with a shower of sparks, you can imagine, with no gear, under the plane. And then these two 230-gallon fuel tanks caught on fire and had a big ball of fire. Everything disappeared in a big ball of fire, and he skidded out of the ball of fire down 2,000 feet down the runway. And then the canopy slowly cracks open, and he jumps out into this ball of fire and runs over to the side. And that night, I went ahead and I had to wait then for them to clean off. I started to turn around and come back, and they said, the Red 2 says, "Hold your position." Said, "We'll get a sweeper out there and sweep off the runway." I thought that's the last thing I want to do is fly this thing. So they came out and they swept the runway. I went over to the other runway and flew for an hour or so. And when I came back, well, he was waiting. His carpool had run off and left him. So Ralph asked me for a ride home.
Wow.
So I gave him a ride home. He told me, he said, "My wife isn't going to believe this." You know? And I tried to get a hold of him. He quit. He retired and went to Seattle, Washington. I've written letters and I never got any reply, because I wanted to tell him, that I was sitting there waiting for him to land, when he crashed on the runway.
Well, which plane was it that you saw going up, and then all of a sudden the contrail started when they got to a certain height?
Oh, that was 86. That was our squadron. They had a T-33 pulling a mile of piano wire, and on the mile of piano wire they had a little 6-foot bomb. It was a radar reflector, and then it was midnight. Oh, it was late at night, midnight, but it's clear, and everybody's first thing you see is that him getting to altitude. You see the contrail come in, and then you see 3 contrails come in on him, and they pass by and they make a pass, of contrails, in the sky.
Because that's all you can see. That's all high?
That's all you can see, and so I just thought that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. If I'd had a camera there. But anyway, I knocked the target off. So when my rockets, I only had you fire 6, and knocked the target off, and so when I came in, everybody said, "Joe, you knocked the target off. You knocked the target off." I said, "Well, I thought that's what I was supposed to do." They laughed about that for a year.
Well, what about the Delta Wing? Did anything ever happen in that other than you taking pictures of it?
No, nothing ever happened. A couple of them ran into each other while I was there.
Gee.
The guy was in the water, and he was afraid of sharks, and so he held his legs up under him, and then when he said the next morning when they picked him up, because he was by an oil rig, and he was afraid to fly over the oil rig because he knew they had threw fish out.
Oh.
And he was afraid the sharks would be around that, so he just stayed out there knowing that they'd find him the next day. And they found him the next day, and he recovered.
Well, but where was he staying? He was just in a boat?
No, he was in the water. He had a life jacket on.
Oh, okay. Well, he wasn't that worried about sharks then.
Except eat you whether you're in a life jacket or not.
No, but I meant he wasn't worried if he stayed out there rather than
Well, what was this? He didn't have a choice.
Because he didn't want to go close to the rig where all the
Yeah.
food was. Yeah. The end.